Now, data from an annual Ipid report into disciplinary matters shows that a third of cases referred for further measures were not acted upon. And for those who are found guilty of misconduct, penalties range from verbal warnings to dismissals, depending on the seriousness of the misdeed. For more on this, I'm joined by Mpho Kwinika, who's the General Secretary for the Independent Policing Union of South Africa. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. What we know so far is that 8 of the officers caught in that horrendous video have been served with suspension letters. Can that be regarded as a step in the right direction?
Well, that is the process when one is informed of misconduct against them. They must be given opportunity to explain as to why they should not be suspended. If the National Commissioner of Police have told South Africans that they are now being suspended, it will mean that he had gone through those representations and realized that they are not convincing and warrant suspension.
So what other processes should take place following the suspension in line with what's allowed insofar as the 2016 SAPS disciplinary regulations?
After they were served with these suspensions, the investigation is going to ensue, and by the supervisors and all other stakeholders that are involved in ensuring that this case is prepared and placed before the disciplinary committee. That committee is going to be chaired and represented, the police represented by officials whom would have been appointed by the station, the province, or the National Commissioner of Police. And in terms of those regulations, they say those officials should act on behalf of the National Commissioner of Police. So they will be following orders from the National Commissioner of Police.
For years, members of the so-called Blue Light Brigade have been accused of aggressive driving and disregarding traffic laws, creating all sorts of dangers for other road users. 10 years ago, the same VIP protection unit was accused of assaulting a journalist outside later President Nelson Mandela's home in Gauteng. Those involved almost got away with a slap on the wrist. And, looking at the Ipid report, which points to cops found guilty of serious crimes, often getting a slap on the wrist, what do you think the police's internal disciplinary processes, why do you think they've deteriorated so substantially over the years to a point that it's hardly holding police accountable?
I think we should start utilizing disciplinary regulations for its purpose. If we use the disciplinary regulations objectively, we will not see some of the complaints South Africans are having against our men and women in blue. But if we continue and utilize the disciplinary regulations subjectively, we are going to continue and see these things happening, because what happens is that senior management in the SAPS, they dictate the outcome of disciplinary hearing. And I want South Africans to hear this very well. They dictate the outcome of the disciplinary hearing. There are a lot of police officers who are disciplined and dismissed for no apparent reason. There are a lot of police officers who are facing serious charges against them, whom when disciplined, instead of them being dismissed, they are being kept within the system. The South African Police Service, there are members who, one member, the police still put so much resources to defend that member, who have got more than 6 cases of assault against the members of the public. Now, I am saying this to South Africans without fear, favor, nor prejudice, because I know what I'm talking about. And
who is that one member?
There are a lot of members, I can tell you today.
You've emphasized one, Mr. Kwinika.
No, I won't do that. I need to protect them.
Okay.
And the time shall come that IPOSA will release to the public and hold me accountable for this. I'll do it on behalf of IPOSA. We will do that for the sake of South Africans.
Look, some experts, law experts, have said that the Ipid is toothless because it doesn't have the power to impose its recommendations on police. So in terms of the processes, very likely with this case that it will be referred to Ipid for further investigations. And looking at the track record, it doesn't seem to have yielded much when it comes to officers. The one that you emphasize, who has 6 matters and they're still within the police force, which shows inaction by Ipid. So what should we expect in terms of this very public, horrendous incident that we all witnessed on video?
I think it is the role of the public to keep an eye on this issue. They have to make sure that the leadership of the South African Police Service accountable of ensuring that, and please hear me out, I'm not saying prosecute the wrong people. If they are found to have been involved in the commission of that offense, I know that though there are people who are being viewed in those visuals, some of the people, I don't think they are also appearing on that video there, but they are party to that activity. We want the police to have a thorough, fair and objective investigation and hold accountable those that are responsible for that incident. It is for the good cause of good policing in this country. South Africans need good South African police service. You must remember, we are coming from the terrible, painful past. If we do not address some of the challenges we have seen before 1994, spilling over post-1994, that is going to damage completely the trust South Africans have on the SAPS. Ipid has a duty, but Ipid is also allowing the South African Police Service to dictate certain things to them. They are enacted in terms of the law. They exist because they are the watchdog of the South African Police Service. But if they get involved in politics, the police is going to degenerate into something that is not supposed to be. So our call is that Ipid needs to work independently from the South African Police Service influences. If they don't do that, I see they have got a role to recommend the South African Police Service what should happen to the members after investigations have been concluded. Even before investigations have been concluded. But they must also know that the South African Police Service is regulated in terms of the South African Police Service regulations, which says that members should be told of their charges promptly, which means immediately, and this investigation must be completed within 60 days. If they are going to take longer than that, then procedure will not have been followed, and they should not be surprised when we see those members back on the streets.
Very well. Thank you so much for weighing in. Mpho Kwinika, General Secretary for the Independent Policing Union of South Africa, giving some insight there from the disciplinary processes that should ensue following the officers. We know that 8 have been suspended so far.